This is Matthew from Focus on the Ride. I came across Max McAllister of Traxxion Dynamics on YouTube a few years ago and watched his videos on the GL1800 suspension. And I had to agree with Max's observations about the stock suspension as delivered from Honda. Goldwing riders come in all shapes and sizes, and in that regard, the stock suspension leaves plenty of room for improvement. My experience mirrored his: the harshness in the forks, the bottoming over large bumps, the preload adjuster on the rear shock that doesn't have a full effective range, and the stock triple clamps that allow the front fork to flex. If you're interested, I put links to Max's video in the description below. About 2 years ago I installed their fork clamp, and it did help to reduce but not eliminate the flexing, but the other suspension issues remained. So this summer I made the decision to upgrade the suspension. I went with a full upgrade called the Mega Monty kit, which includes their cartridge kit for the front forks, new seals and bushings, new rear shock, billet aluminum triple clamps, and tapered steering head ball bearings. This is a behind-the-scenes look at the upgrade. This video is not sponsored. I'm just happy with the results and wanted to share my experience. If you enjoy this video, please like and subscribe. It helps with the algorithm. The work was done at their facility in Woodstock, Georgia in June of 2021. In the office is a display case containing some of their products. Here's a view of the billet aluminum triple clamps alongside the stock Honda triple clamps. And here are the components of the Traxxion Dynamics rear shock for the GL1800. This is a cutaway of the cartridge shock that will go inside each of the fork tubes. I hung out in the waiting area while my bike was being wheeled into the shop and secured to the lift. Max has compiled a notebook containing hundreds of pages of testimonials from customers. They're unanimous. This upgrade results in a bike that handles dramatically better than stock. And a short while later, the front forks were off and back in the machine shop being disassembled, cleaned, and rebuilt. I thought that this was a clever way to use bungees to hold the instrument cluster out of the way while the triple clamps were replaced. Max's team has figured out a way to remove the rear shock without having to remove the gas tank, which saves a considerable amount of time and effort. These are the stock front suspension components. The seals and guides all get replaced with new parts. Martin is washing and drying the front fork components after being cleaned in a high-temperature ultrasonic cleaner.
See the length difference?
Oh yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So there's a little more leverage on this side because of the shorter tube and the distance from the bushing, to the end of the tube, because the tubes are clamped at the same, height, obviously.
Right.
And over time it will wear out the inside of this fork light.
The fork tubes are checked for trueness and polished on a lathe to remove any rough edges that might cause premature wear on the fork seals. Isopropyl alcohol is used to remove any traces of moisture after cleaning. Here are the new springs and shocks to be installed. With all the parts clean, Martin begins to reassemble the forks. First, bushings and seals. Then the shock cartridges. Fork oil. And springs. The fork end caps are attached, and the rebound damping adjusters are set. With the right tools and experience, it looks easy. And they're done. Meanwhile, the stock triple clamps have been removed and replaced with the new Billet aluminum triple clamps. The rear shock preload adjuster motor and gear drive will be cleaned and reused. The factory rear shock will be replaced. The old hardware is bagged. You can take it with you if you like, but I had no use for the old parts and I left them there. Here Martin's washing the worst of the dirt off before it goes into the ultrasonic cleaner. Then some final cleaning by hand and the parts look like new. Here's the manufactured date of the preload motor, December 16th, 2013.
Now moves the plunger up and down, you know, it's like a very coarse thread.
Next, the preload assembly is disassembled and cleaned. And now reassembled. This special grease contains conditioners that help to preserve the seals.
It's friendly with that. Some things can damage it.
The stock rubber hydraulic line is replaced with a steel braided line. Martin's bleeding the air from the preload hydraulic line. Looks messy, but this ensures that there's no air in the system. A bucket underneath catches the overflow. Here's the new shock and the new rear spring. The spring is compressed so that the locking ring can be snapped into place.
Pretty stout with the spring.
One final adjustment. And done. Ready for installation. Meanwhile, the rebuilt front shocks have been reinstalled. About all that remains is to attach the side panels and take it for a test ride. I pulled into the shop around 9 a.m. and the work was completed by noon. Max and his staff are professional, knowledgeable, and experienced. I want to give a shout out to Austin, Martin, Jacob, and Billy for doing a great job. Thank you all. And thank you, Max, for building a great product in America and allowing me to shoot this behind-the-scenes video of the upgrade process. Immediately after the upgrade, I continued my summer trip, which took me to Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, and North Carolina. And of course, Steele's Gap, where I did my fastest runs ever. The difference is amazing. The bike handles phenomenally. The shocks don't bottom out, the bike doesn't wallow, so now when I pick my line through a curve, it tracks like it's on rails. It's much easier to maneuver at slow speeds because there's no fork flex. The difference is like night and day. It's not an inexpensive upgrade, but I think it's worth every penny. If you've been considering this, I would tell you to go for it. You won't be disappointed. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.